For me, maybe one of the roots of the problem of our economic crisis is that it is found that all the economy is now measured in currencies. And what I think currency is the root cause of the actual currency, the current currencies are the root cause of our problem. These currencies, like the dollar or euro, for instance, are being issued as debt. And they are being issued by private banking. And they don't reach the population through channels other than the private banks. So I think actually this is maybe one of the root causes of our current problem, because we grow as a society, but the currency that reflects the richness of the society is issued privately and with a need. So I think there is a good problem here. Maybe if you could comment on that subject.
That's there's I understand that theory, and it's something I need to learn more about. To my mind, how money is issued is not as important as the distribution of money and the potential for people to earn that money. If we were starting over with a monetary system, I think we probably would create one that is more conducive to the public good. I'm open to be convinced, but I don't know that that's at the core of the crisis. To be fair, in the United States, the government is completely abandoned. We have completely reverse economic policies that are happening there, that policies that are promoting action when we're still trying to recover from the disaster. And the one hand really trying to grow the economy is our Federal Reserve, which is the monetary authority that is conspicuously not least in Europe. But in an overall reform of the economy, how we issue money, that certainly is open for reform.
Muito obrigado. Uma pergunta aí em cima. Primeiro aqui. Okay. First. Hi.
I've been thinking a lot about these questions lately. How can we survive and have an inequality system? I have only some questions, perhaps for Dada. How to manage who does not work, and about the inequality, how to manage who works more than the other. So perhaps that for Mark Friedman, because these are specific issues that are in my head lately, and I'd like to hear about your opinion. And also there is a petition for basic needs for gathering 1 million signatures, and isn't it studied already? Models for basically the petition is about providing basic needs independently of people working or not, and the petition for studying if it is possible to find such a model. So I'd like to hear your opinion.
Yeah. I'll start and then respond. I think human nature is such that people in general like to do good work. Rationalists certainly believe this. When people have the opportunity to do a fair and honest work and get paid a reasonable salary that will not keep them in poverty, but will help them grow out of poverty, then yes, I think the vast majority of people will take that. Our problem today is less that people don't want to work. It's that they don't have the proper opportunities to get a reasonable salary. So, yes, I've worked in psychiatric hospitals, so I can definitely say I know people personally who don't want to do anything. But you know, even people with disabilities, mental disabilities, physical disabilities, other types, can be encouraged through proper job training programs and occupational therapy to get closer and closer to that goal of managing work that will benefit them. So I think that is less a problem than a system that is so skewed now that even if you do work, you make less money than you get, you know, from the pension from the government. So an incentive, material incentive, and also social incentives, which Mark can also talk more about later, I think are important.
Yeah, I don't know that I have much more to add to that. I think a best solution is a policy of 100% employment, providing everybody with the opportunity to contribute. I think everybody should contribute to the economic production, and the distribution should be considered what people would, a reasonable person would consider to be fair. Does that answer your question?
Not quite.
Só eu vou acrescentar também algo, ou seja, a perspectiva de Prout não é que as pessoas recebam a sua vida como garantida, ou seja, as pessoas devem trocar por trabalho, ou seja, para fazer face às despesas inerentes à existência, na sociedade, devem trabalhar e em troca receber. O ponto está que o salário mínimo deve ser suficiente para sobreviver, o que não é o caso hoje, porque o salário mínimo não dá para pagar a casa, transporte para as crianças na escola e tudo isto para uma família. Foram 2 salários mínimos, torna extremamente desafiante. À parte da questão do desemprego. Em relação às pessoas que não querem trabalhar, se as pessoas devem ser encorajadas a trabalharem, porque para pagarem as suas despesas têm que trabalhar, por oposição a dar tudo garantido. Este é um aspecto. E em relação às pessoas que trabalham mais do que outras, é também a visão de Prout que deve haver algum tipo de compensação. Ou seja, se a pessoa quer adquirir novas capacidades, trabalhar mais, dar um contributo mais importante, deve haver ou seja, não deve haver um pensamento igual para todos, mas deve haver uma diferenciação positiva. Eu estou a ver que quer fazer mais alguma pergunta, mas vamos ter que ser muito breves para tentarmos ir às perguntas a várias pessoas, está bem? Força.
Bem, por exemplo, se uma pessoa não quiser trabalhar, if a person does not want to work, she actually has a child, a lot of child, how will that be sustainable in the longer term? Because we have families, for example, where the woman does all the work and the guys lie down and just breathe. And the thing about these models is how do you make it, okay, we can encourage, but we cannot force people. So this is a bit of paradigm.
Muito obrigado. Vou passar à pergunta que só tentar fazer um comentário em relação a isso. Ou seja, se eu para ter vida e poder deslocar e poder dar escola às minhas crianças tiver que trabalhar um número razoável de horas, numas condições razoáveis, o número de pessoas que vão fazer e não terem dinheiro para comprar comida e não terem dinheiro para as suas necessidades básicas, ele será muito menor do que acontece hoje em dia, é que as pessoas são obrigadas a estar desempregadas porque não há emprego. Se calhar vamos visitar ali no canto, por favor.
I would like to address the problem raised by the first question, since it is a real problem, but we are not aware of it during normal times. I mean, all the money rolling in our society is really debt money that shall be paid back with interest. Normally, in good times, it's not a big problem, but over the years, it will accumulate and accumulate. And already there is an economist called Erik Reiner. He wrote the bestseller How Rich Nations Got Rich and Why Poor Nations Stay Poor. And he is also touching how depressions come about. And his books about the Minsky effect, the Peirce effect, blockages of money, etc., and the accumulation of wealth in the hands of a few. But if these did not happen, still over some years, many years, there would be a depression anyway because of the debt money rolling swamping the society. That is called Hammurabi effect. King Hammurabi of Mesopotamia, 3,500 years ago, he had a law that all debt should be wiped out in called sub-jubilee year or something.
Okay, please conclude quickly.
Yes, and so it is a real problem. And that can be dealt with having a very low interest, or having inflation higher than interest, or have a parallel currency like we used to have in the great crisis, like they had in Germany in the 1930s, like they had in places. So we must be conscious of it, and we can deal with it, but it is a real problem.
Thank you.
Three very short questions. So one has to do with money, and I think that really the creation of money is a problem. And yeah, I agree that okay, there should be national currencies, but then local currencies as well. And there are already some good models. And the actual money and how it is created, it is really a problem that has to be addressed. I mean, this is my opinion, but maybe you can comment. The other thing is about work. The definition of work. I mean, that's one major issue, because what is really work, and how it's being defined in our society. I mean, painting is work, housekeeping is work, child tending is work. I mean, so, to define what is considered work, it's really a very sensitive issue, and it also must be addressed. And this is one of the problems that, for instance, Pedro was saying that, oh, we want to work more. But that's the problem nowadays. People are working more and more, and for what? I mean, for this totally suicidal model of society. And this is really something that also must be addressed. And about political power, and this is another problem. It's the words we're using. Power. I mean, it's more people empowering people. This is also, I think, a term that actually is a little bit problematic, because the thing is that political power has given people this incentive to reach a certain position and then make all sorts of hard decisions. And so people have the power to decide, yes, but it's the words we use to have a possibility of doing political work. Of course, this is something that everybody should do, but it's something that you should do for your entire life, and that should be some social defined work that you do. It's something that should be actually everybody should have a part of their life dedicated to this, and being a source of power, because this is what is wrong with this society. I would like to hear Peter, because he hasn't really spoken yet in this part about this.
Okay, Peter. I have exactly Peter during part of your question.
So do you have a question? Because this is me.
No, it's power. What is political power and how it should be used by people. And so it is not something, it's just a social thing, just to be able to do things against everybody's will, but actually being able to go for the common good, and not this power, like, you know.
Não houve tradução porque o Álvaro não estava no microfone.
Okay.
Alguém que... Peço desculpa.
Portanto, foi aqui perguntado em relação à criação de dinheiro, indicou que acha que é um problema, mas em relação à definição de trabalho, o que é realmente trabalho. E agora falou-se um bocadinho, o Álvaro colocou aqui um bocadinho mais a questão de como o nível de decisão política, de orientação da sociedade, pode deixar de ser uma forma de mandar com interesses egoístas para algo posto de vista da sociedade.
What I really like about the example of Latin America is that it shows it's an example in recent history that often we can have long theoretical discussions about how our future society should be, how work should be called, what is the role of men, of women, and whatever. And I like this. I like things happening in the real world. And Latin America is a nice example how the political structures that are already there, that are in place, and there is at least this theoretical idea of representative democracy going on, that popular movements just put ahead their own candidates and took power of power structures. And once being in charge of these power structures, there's many things, many experiments on how to deepen that democracy. For example, there was somebody saying here about the role of what to do with women working in house. Is that work as or not? For example, it's a great example from Venezuela as well that they're giving pensions to housewomen because the work of mothers is being recognized as a job, so they receive money to do that. So and that's just like another practical example of okay, we have this problem. Let's see if this works, if we can address it in this way. So I don't have any blueprint for how we should be doing things, but I look to the recent past and I see that it worked out pretty well for them in that respect.
Thank you. Obrigado. Está terminado para perguntas. Eu vou deixar duas pessoas que vão tentar fazer perguntas. Eu vou deixar as duas fazer, mas se calhar não vamos conseguir responder as questões no ar. If you please, you can ask one question and there's another question, and then we'll try to answer both if time allows.
Just addressing the question of work in a little bit humorous way, the founder of Proud said that if there is appropriate use of technology and a genuine spirit of cooperation amongst the people, people shouldn't have to work more than 5 minutes a week.
What I would say is that I am very much in favor of the basic economic support, almost with no conditions, because there's a possibility that you can define work and to channel all those resources into whatever is possible. And I'm an example myself, because I've been, I won't recommend that, but I used to be crazy and I got on a pension. And now I'm actually using this basic income to travel and to teach and to do things that otherwise wouldn't be done. You have, at the moment, you have a demand for people who are supposed to have money, that they stay put and wait for somebody to offer them a job. And that's very unproductive. What I would say is that there's actually not necessarily a contradiction between asking people, giving people a basic income and then asking them to do something. Because I think that if you just define whatever they do as doing something and then see what are they doing, because they will provide information about what is needed to be done.
Obrigado. Obrigado. Desculpem, vamos ter que terminar por causa do tempo. Não, só temos ali só mais uma intervenção, será a última.
Just I wanted to hear some more clarification on this thing, the proud policy of 100% employment, because I know from working in Romania, for example, there under the Ceausescu regime, it was imposed 100% employment, but with the penalty of going to jail if you weren't working. So I think this is where some of that concern is, like, well, how are you going to create 100% employment? You're going to put people in jail if they're not working? I mean, what is really the spirit of 100% employment in proud versus this more totalitarian type of example?
Sorry. We have about 1 minute because we already exceeded time, so please try to answer and then we will close. So just one comment more. Durante o intervalo, quem quiser encontrar os palestrantes podem depois fazer as outras perguntas. Eu sei que está a ser bastante participativo. Obrigado pela vossa compreensão.
How that is implemented, I think, certainly has to be worked out in discussions like this, and it has to be done in a humane way, and with also the fundamental understanding that basic necessities have to be guaranteed for everyone. Within that framework, I think there is some idea that a policy of 100% employment would be a substitute, for example, to welfare programs and something like that. So I don't think there would be a scope for putting people in jail if they didn't want to work, but I think that they would not have scope for income unless they get somebody who wants to subsidize them. There would not be a public subsidy unless they wanted to contribute their labor to some extent. So I think probably that would involve macroeconomic policies to ensure that the economy is healthy enough to employ everyone, and then also guarantees of government employment as a last resort if that fails.
Ok, muito obrigado. Vamos ter agora um curto intervalo e de seguida segue-se o painel O que é descentralizar a economia.
Só dois anúncios, peço desculpa. Uma das coisas é o intervalo agora vai ser só 10 minutos, nós vamos diminuir um bocadinho o intervalo. We're going to shorten the break now. Vamos diminuir um bocadinho o intervalo para 10 minutos porque nos alargámos agora. E outra coisa é com os copos, with your glasses. Ponham o vosso nome, ou estão lá marcadores, ponham só o vosso nome nos copos que usarem, que é para reutilizarmos, tentarmos evitar fora copos de plástico e tentarmos utilizar os mesmos copos.
Convidava-vos só a juntarem-se aqui mais uma salva de palmas aos nossos